So I'm sure you guys have all seen your timeline and your YouTube feed filled with the videos like, I switched to Sony, I switched to Canon, I sold all my Sony gear, I sold all my Canon gear, so on and so forth. Well, here's another one of those videos, but with a twist. Listen, I know some of you guys have your brand loyalty where some people just want to shoot strictly Canon, some people just want to strictly shoot Sony, some people strictly shoot Nikon. Praying for y'all. People just have their tastes, but I don't believe in strictly shooting with one system. In the beginning of my career, my first camera that I personally owned was the Canon 5D Mark II. Kind of telling you guys how old I am. But that was the first camera that really launched my career. That was back in 2010. I was in film school. If you guys remember, the Canon 5D Mark II was the first DSLR camera that was pretty much hyped about shooting video. And it was revolutionary at the time. And that was the camera that truly jump-started my career. It was the 5D Mark II paired with the 24-105 f4 lens. Actually, hold on. I actually still have that very lens right there. 24-105. This thing is beat up. It's, what year was that? 2010? It's 2024. This is a 14-year-old lens. And it's, yeah, it still works. But this paired with the 5D Mark II, that was my setup. And up until 2015, 2016, I was a Canon loyalist. 5D Mark II. Then when the 5D Mark III came out, that was my next setup. Same thing, also had a 28-70 2.8 lens. I was locked into Canon. But the thing is, at this time, my work started to shift. I started shooting more nightclubs and I started shooting with DJs. With that type of work, obviously there's a lot more low light type of shooting. 5D Mark II, 5D Mark III, that wasn't cutting it in low light, wasn't cutting it on the video side of things for nightclubs. And this is kind of where Sony enters the chat, enters my life. See, I was still a full-time photographer doing fashion, editorial, and portrait work, but the video stuff was starting to be added to my scope. So I needed a camera that could do both in a sense. So I opted for the Sony a7R Mark II. Now, I know you guys are saying, well, that's not really the greatest in low light. You should have got an A7S. I think at the time it was just the A7S at the time. But like I said, I was still a full-time photographer and I couldn't afford to just have two separate systems. So I got the A7R Mark II because it was still decent with video in low light, but obviously it was a killer for photo. It was a great hybrid camera and it served me well for, I want to say, about 4 years. And I tell this story because I know a lot of people simply just switch systems because they have a new brand loyalty. But I look at it as I only switch when my work makes me switch. So now it's 2024 and I shoot Canon, but recently I've also started shooting Sony. And I only do that because my work calls for that. So I personally own a Canon R5, this camera right here, which is the Sony ZV-E1, and they do two very different things. The Sony ZV-E1 is primarily video, great in low light. I use it for all my content creation, but then I also have my Canon R5, which also does great video, but it's a beast with photo. So why do I have both? My R5 primarily is for all my editorial high-end fashion client work for photography, and then for video, I also use it for client work. This camera, the Sony ZV-E1, it's my personal content creation camera. So I'm shooting BTS, I'm shooting vlogs, and I'm shooting YouTube content. But I also have other cameras in my package. I also have my Fuji X100V, which is my personal photography camera. I used to always walk around with my R5 to just take day in the life photos or go on vacation, but that's also my workhorse. God forbid I'm on vacation and my workhorse camera gets stolen or damaged. Now I'm losing money because my main camera is out of commission. The Fuji X100V is perfect for those in the moment vacation, or I'm just going out to dinner type of photos. It's great. And then I also have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, which is, hence the name, is more of a cinematic type of package. And I use that for my bigger productions, like my music videos or big interviews, things of that nature. Because my R5, yes, it's capable of doing that, but my Blackmagic, when I bring that on set, it's built out to look like a production camera. And when you're on production sets, you wanna look the part. Obviously, I can show up to set with my R5 and it looks fine, but you also wanna have the perception with clients that, okay, yeah, we're shooting with a big camera, it's gonna be high quality. It's all a perception thing. So each four of those cameras, yes, they all can shoot photo or video, but they're all for specific needs. And with that, that's the only time I can ever recommend, or even myself say, I'm switching from Canon to Sony, or Sony to Canon, or whatever system that you want to switch to. You need to find the piece of gear that works specifically for your needs. The one thing that a lot of people always ask me is, hey, what's the best camera? What camera should I get? And obviously I can say, oh, get an R5 or get this, but everyone's shooting something different. So every camera is gonna be catered to someone different because their needs are different. The type of work is different. The type of content they're shooting is different. So to answer the question that I asked in the title, should you switch? And the answer is, only you know that. Only you know if you need to switch. Again, everyone's needs are different. My needs are different from your needs. What form factor you're looking for? Is it a big camera? Is it a small camera? Is it something that's for personal use? Is it something for client use? All these things factor in. So I highly suggest that you just don't up and switch, because I know it's really hard to, watch all these other YouTube creators and they're all pushing Sony or all pushing Canon, and you want to switch just because your favorite creator is shooting with whatever gear they're shooting with. But you have to do the research for yourself, because like I said, and I keep saying over and over, everyone shoots something different and everyone's taste and needs are different. Hopefully this video helped you guys out, answered some few questions, gave you some insight on how I perceive these things. I know the Canon R5 Mark II just came out. I'm not getting that. I'm sticking with my R5 and the Sony ZV-E1 and the other two cameras I told you guys about. But maybe in the comments, let me know what you guys are shooting with, what you guys are looking forward to shoot with, what type of content you guys are shooting. I would love to know. But if you guys like this type of content, make sure you guys let me know down in the comments, like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.